Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's July 17th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and nice downtrend today. Um, Probably the biggest move we've had in a while. Notice we had this first leg down, and then we had the correction, and then the second leg down. You can see that's a pretty close to a perfect measured move. We actually went a couple of ticks further and bounced off the lower trend channel. This brown trend channel was a much higher level. It didn't help you a lot. The only thing it would have probably helped you was maybe on these couple of trades, right? These two trades right here, but you still had another reason to enter both of those. So you didn't even need it for that, basically. So, but if you could find it, it helps, and you could see the, prices working off the midline. Really, the play was this blue one, and then we had a break, and then we had another spike and channel this other blue one down here. Let me make this a little darker just so it's easier to see. And that's the way I played it. Um, the red channel is obviously there and worth noting and watching if you found that. Basically, if you just drew it off these first two lows and then drug it up, it would have got you in the right ballpark up here for these. And so anyway, but still, I still think you're better off to play the blue one and then play this out right here, and then this spikes down and goes into a channel for the rest of the day. So really, most of this channel is in the 2 o'clock hour, so it doesn't really help you a whole lot. But anyway, let me back out a little more where you can see it a little better, and we'll go through them. Not a lot of trades today, at least on my chart. A lot of the signal bars weren't good, so maybe your chart set up a little better. But the 7 o'clock came as we were going right into this channel, and it's just so tight. The only way to trade this is a real small bar off the low or a real large bar off the high. And actually, you probably could have went long here. I didn't mark it. Uh, I forgot to mark that one because I was actually short here, and I forgot to come back and mark that one. But you could have taken that one as well. The key on these little tight ranges is the only way to really enter them is on failed breakouts to the downside, to the upside, or bars that allow you very bullish bars to get long right at the low of the strong support, or very bearish bar with right at the high of the resistance. This one here, you probably don't have enough room to get out. It didn't matter; it would have worked, but that's the reason I didn't mark that one. There's not enough room to get out there. It's close. If you could let it break lower and get a limit order far back enough in where you could have enough room to get out, I'd be okay with that one. I'll mark it based on that stipulation. So just remember that. I'm gonna mark it green because if you just use the signal bar, you don't have enough room there. At least not on my chart. Now, if your chart got you in closer, and one of these other trades might have gotten you in a little closer, this one had enough room, but the problem is you were still in this downtrend at this point. And this is actually, um, you'd be going long and, on a move down, and there is I don't have it on there, but there's a little short-term trend, and you got a break and a new low. So you may have looked at that as a reversal type area, but it's not, and there is enough room maybe back to the EMA. So that one's also a possibility. I don't like it. I think you're better off to wait. And then it just got too tight and till you had this short right here. And again, the reason I like that short is because it gives you got a big bearish bar that allows you to get short at the very high with plenty of room to get out before the other side. Same thing here. Now you got a chance to get long, and you've bounced here enough times to where you could risk that long with no problem. And so now you got a chance to get long at the lows with enough room to get out. And then again, we just talked about that one. Now, if you have enough room, or if you let it break lower and you drop the limit order far enough back where you could get out before this low, it wouldn't have ended up mattering, but you don't know that in advance, so you have to make sure you got enough room. There is a failed break lower here, but it's right back into the support. Um, I think you're better off to wait on a higher low, and you do get that here, and notice you can't break above, and by that time you're kind of confirmed that trend line too. Um, So you don't want to be trying to get long here. But what I do like is if you draw this trend line off those swings, you really confirmed it here. And that's another reason I kind of like that trade if you can find enough room to get in. But it comes back right here, and you could really count that one as a failed second entry short, but it's right back into the support. So I think you want to see if you get another chance, and then you get a sure. It is a trap though, because you could count this as the new high, first entry, second entry, but it's not really two measured legs or anything like that. So I don't like it playing as a trap. I think you're better off to play this as a double top, and then first entry, second entry, and then this one finally you get a chance way down here right at the lows. So by the time you've tested that trend line that many times and now you're right here, I like taking that second entry short. Notice that new low, first entry, and it tries to go higher. And when it didn't go lower here, it's still a second entry short. It actually came back again, but that bar is too bullish, and when it didn't take off there, I'd be a little bit leery of jumping in at that point. I like getting in here. And you would have got a runner on that, and that was a pretty nice move. There's a failed second entry long here too, because that's a double top, so a new high, first entry, second entry. But you got to go short below a mostly bullish bar down here at the very near the overnight lows and low of the day. So I don't like that one. Then we're working down, and we come back across. We don't quite get back to the key entry point, but this is a two-tiered channel, it looks like, and so there is a good chance that prices are going to drop on down. But let me show you why I like this. If you look at all those three matching highs, and you made a high, you tried to go lower, you came back and you tested it once, even though you can't really see that. There's a test there, and then it comes back and tests it again. So you get a double test and a mostly bearish bar. And I showed you there actually, I didn't show that. That was on the mid-morning chart that I posted. I showed that. But there was a target down here around 29, I believe it was 29.90 or 29.92. Somewhere in that range. We came real close to hitting it here. It was somewhere down here, but it was based on a much bigger picture. This leg down and then starting your next leg here. Let's just do it real quick so I can remember. I can't remember where it was. So yeah, it was right in there at 29.95, 96 areas where it's at. So that's why I like this one, just to try to drop on down to that that target. I don't do that very often, but if there's no previous support from this day, or not really much in the previous day, that's how I would try to look back and see if I could find another target. You can do that pretty much anytime. The more recent legs are going to give you a more accurate target though, but that still got you pretty close. Prices ended up going a little further, but they were going to the other side of this larger channel, as you can see here. And once we bounced, that's kind of where we kept support there for a little while, right around that same target area. So evidently some buying was coming in there. But anyway, there's a double test right here. And so I like trying to ride that on down. There's a couple of other little breaks higher here, but you don't want to be going short this far away from the EMA, especially when you're looking for a bounce any minute. Notice it bounces to the tick. And then you get up here, and then you just start going sideways. I like this one just because we were probably headed back here at this point, and the two-tiered channel was not a given at that point. You really have to be good at this and know how to find it off the lows like I showed you there. But I was playing this blue one, and that's a big overshoot. So there's a good chance that we could reverse here. So when you got this little trap, and notice you made that low and little double tap, first test and then double test, and you got a nice bullish bar. And notice how it broke. Each one of these broke a little lower, but everything still closed above the EMA. The odds are we're probably going to make that another leg up, similar to this first leg. And so it's a little risky, but we've been trending up since just before 10, and it's almost 10:40 now, so almost 40 minutes. So it was enough to assume that we probably could go higher. So I marked it. It's a little risky, but it is a double test. Everything's above the EMA. If you found this trend line, it's way up here. If not, you're still looking for a possible measured move. I'd measure this leg first. And you see that puts you up here. But then I'd go ahead and measure this whole thing. And you can see we got a perfect measured move there. So that's why I figured, that's why I like possibility of us breaking higher. So, and of course, then we get, we do turn down. I marked this because you got two measured legs up, which oftentimes is the center of the pattern, which it actually was today, as I showed you earlier on that bigger measured move down. I've already taken it off, but this was the center of the pattern. And so you may catch an important high here. And of course, I like the fact that that's like 2 ticks and there's only one more tick. So you can get in here by going short below that little small 2 tick. Looks like a doji. It basically is, but it's only 2 ticks. And of course your stop still has to go above this high, but you just go short below that if it breaks. And look how far away we are from the EMA. So you got a good chance of riding that back just at a minimum, but you may catch a high here and get a whole nother leg down, which is exactly what happened. So it's worth trying to get in there if you could. It's very low risk. There's only 3 ticks there. You don't get many trades like that. And if you catch this one, your break-even stop on your runners would have been 3,150, and you can see we only came back to 0125. So you would have caught a runner there, and you could have ridden this all the way down. I probably would have exited when it bounced here and looked to get back in right here. But anyway, or actually, I probably would have exited when we started going sideways here. This is the next trade. I'm sorry. But then we just we got back in the range and we're going sideways again. And finally you make a low, you test it once and you test it twice, and it was a failure when it broke higher here on the second entry too. Although you don't care so much about failed second entries, it's just a chance to get long near the lows. It's actually this bar. And even though that's got a couple of ticks to it, it's not perfect. You could have used either one. Basically the way I would have played it was use this bullish bar, and I would have let it break above and try to get a limit order in there above this bar. This bar is not a great signal bar, really, to be honest. So that would have been the more play, but that's really risky. And the only reason I've marked is because you are going sideways here, but it does look like this bigger channel's in play. But you never know if you're going to get one of those reversals, and if you catch, you know, these little break lowers, you may catch an important low. Most likely, since we traded down into this area here earlier in the day, you're probably going to be more apt to catch a failed break out the upper side, and that's where I would try to get the runners, and I'd probably just scalp on these little longs here. I probably would have tried to get a runner on this one, but probably not here. And then we get another failed breakout, nice bearish bar, perfect bearish bar. I'm going to take that trade, just hoping that we're headed lower again. And you do get a convincing close outside, so you may get a new low here and reverse. That doesn't turn out to be the case, but you also want to watch for that measured move. But this turns out to be a great trade, and you would have had an easy runner here. Make a new low, first entry. There's actually a second entry right here, but I like the lower high better. We weren't quite back to the EMA. and this is more of an inside bar, so it's not an ideal setup. But when we tried to go higher here and you got that higher lower high, that's a nice bearish bar again. I like going short there. We actually come back to the trend line again here, and that's a relatively bearish bar as well, and it does confirm that trend line right there possibly. It looks like it closes outside. That's after 2. Well, that's almost 14. You know, that's almost 2:30. So I probably wouldn't take it. I just wanted to point it out. If it hadn't been after 2 o'clock, I'd say jump all over that one. Or if it'd been even a little closer to 2. I mean, it's. Let me just see what time that is. Well, that's 2:17. It's getting into after the 2 o'clock hour, but you may take that one. So, and if it wasn't so, after 2 o'clock, I'd mark it blue, red. So that's what I saw today, a nice 2-tier channel. I didn't start this way up here. I just used the line that goes both ways just to see how it worked out. So that's why I would have started it right here and here and just drug it up to the highs. So, but I just want to kind of see how it worked out previously. You can see it does tend to fall in place there. So, but anyway, nice downtrend today. Still not a lot of trades and not a lot of volume, but a little better day, easier days than what we've been having. Just keep in mind, this is where you get tripped up. People have been in the range day mode, and they're like we were going to have another tight range, and then suddenly we start trending, and people are getting all out of whack trying to play range days, and when you need to be selling this thing all the way down. So I said it yesterday, I believe, or the day before, is, be careful and don't get lulled to sleep by the market doing the same thing over and over, because it will suddenly switch gears on you, and then you got yourself in trouble. So anyway, a pretty good trading day today, and this last was a spike in this blue channel here. It was a spike in channel down, and I would have played this channel. Of course, you don't have a whole lot of plays in it, but that's the way I would have played it. I think if you drew this, it still would have come out the same at that early on, because you're not really going to trade this other stuff anyway. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Nothing else we can say about today. Just a nice trend down. Had a decent correction in here. And this is what really throws people off. I got a couple of questions about this. Is people think this is a reversal, and they start trying to get long, and or they try to get short again right in here, and they get whipsawed. And what you got to do is be careful to let the correction play out, and that's why it's always dangerous. Usually you're better off to take the lower high. And if you wait on the lower high here, you start to see all this congestion right here, and you'll know to stay out of this trade, because you do get a break in a new high, but notice how you never really get a lower high that's a good setup, and it just starts going sideways. So they end up trapping a bunch of shorts here and running their stops, and then it goes right where you thought it was going to go to begin with, and that's where people get tripped up. And so just be careful, let this play out, and what you might do is wait till you got a confirmed trend in the other direction. And you don't really get that till down here, unfortunately. So, but that's probably the better. I mean, really, from just before 11 o'clock, there wasn't much happening until 1 o'clock. There's not much volume there at all. So the market got really slow again. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.